Justice for Cherish. Donald Smith heading to death row.
It will never be over, but this is my fight now for children.
On June 21st, 2013, 8-year-old Cherish Lily Perrywinkle was looking forward to an exciting summer trip, unaware that this seemingly ordinary day would mark her last. Born on Christmas Eve 2004, Cherish was described by her family as the best Christmas gift. That summer day, she spent time with her mother, Rain, getting her hair washed and helping pack for the next day's flight. She was excited, as she was set to fly to San Diego to spend the rest of the summer with her father, Billy, and his new wife. Cherish's parents were separated, and she lived in Jacksonville, Florida, with her mother, her mom's boyfriend, and her 2 younger sisters. Cherish was especially excited about her upcoming trip, as it would be the first time in months she would see her father. With the trip looming just hours away, Rain realized that Cherish could use some new clothes for her time with her dad. At around 7:30 p.m. on the night before their flight, her mom, Rain, decided to take Cherish and her 2 younger sisters to the Dollar General store on Edgewood Avenue. The store, just a 20-minute walk from their home, seemed like a quick stop for last-minute shopping, setting off what appeared to be an ordinary errand with her 3 children. This moment of innocent preparation for a summer trip would soon lead to a devastating turn of events, forever changing the lives of Cherish's family. Once inside the Dollar General store, Rain and her daughters browsed for clothes, and Rain picked out a little white dress with hearts for Cherish. However, when she reached the checkout, she realized she didn't have enough money and reluctantly put the dress back. With only $100 to her name, an amount that also had to cover groceries and the next day's travel expenses to the airport, Rain was left with little choice but to forego buying the dress. Unbeknownst to Rain, a man had been watching her closely during this time. According to a cashier at the store, the man soon approached the till, inquiring if Rain had put the dress back due to a lack of funds. When the cashier confirmed this, the man left the store and waited outside. When Rain exited the store with her daughters, the man struck up a conversation, introducing himself as Don. He explained that he was waiting for his wife when he noticed Rain had to put the dress back. Wanting to help, Don offered her a $150 Walmart gift card, saying she could use it to buy clothes for Cherish and her sisters. However, he mentioned that he needed to wait for his wife to bring the gift card. The cashier recalled seeing Rain and Don talking for about 15 to 20 minutes outside the store. As time passed and his wife hadn't arrived, Don eventually suggested they all go to Walmart together. Since it was getting late and Walmart would be closing soon, he offered to give Rain and her daughters a ride in his van. At first, Rain was hesitant to accept a ride from a stranger, especially with her 3 young daughters. The idea of getting into an old man's van felt unsettling. However, as it began to rain, Rain reconsidered. Needing to buy clothes and feeling pressured by the time, she ultimately accepted Don's offer. He helped her load the stroller and groceries into his van, and they headed off together, a decision that would soon change their lives forever. As Rain and her daughters got into Don's van, she couldn't help but notice that it seemed a little odd. The interior had carpet on the floor and blinds covering the windows, but Rain brushed aside her unease. To her, Don appeared to be a harmless elderly man simply trying to help a struggling mother. Soon she thought they would meet his wife, and all would be well. But there was a crucial detail Don had left out. He didn't have a wife. When they arrived at Walmart, Don took out his phone, pretending to speak to his wife about what they would eat. He then told Rain that his wife would meet them there and suggested that she go ahead inside with her girls to start shopping. He promised to join them shortly. Trusting his word, Rain entered the store with her daughters, while Walmart's CCTV system captured their every move. As Rain browsed, she began picking out items for each of her daughters, carefully stacking them in the cart. Cherish, wanting to buy something special for her mother, pointed out a necklace, but Rain reminded her that they were there to shop for her and her sisters. A short time later, Don finally joined Rain in the store, just as he had promised. However, there was still no sign of his wife or the gift card. Rain asked several times if his wife was coming, knowing full well she couldn't afford the items in her cart on her own. Each time, Don reassured her, delaying the inevitable truth that there was no gift card and no wife. As the shopping trip continued, Don's behavior became increasingly odd. He didn't seem interested in buying anything except for a bundle of rope, which he added to his cart. Despite this peculiar choice, Rain's alarm bells hadn't yet gone off. Don's attention soon shifted to Cherish, and his behavior grew concerning. He selected a pair of high heels for Cherish, but Rain refused, noting that they were too high for even her to wear. What stood out more were the 2 instances when Dawn took Cherish alone to a dressing room while Rain was preoccupied with shopping. As closing time neared and Walmart's announcement came over the speakers, Dawn's wife still hadn't arrived with the promised gift card. Rain, now in a rush to finish shopping, was feeling the pressure as her young daughters grew restless. In the midst of the chaos, Dawn asked if the children had eaten and offered to get cheeseburgers from McDonald's, which was located inside the store. When he asked Cherish to accompany him to help carry the food, Rain, seeing no immediate danger, allowed her daughter to go with him. 20 minutes passed, and Rain began to feel uneasy. The store was about to close. She had a cart full of unpaid items, and Dawn, who had offered to help, was nowhere to be seen. Rain grabbed her 2 younger daughters and frantically searched the store, checking the aisles, the checkout counters, and McDonald's. There was no sign of either Cherish or Dawn. Rain's fear intensified as she ran outside to the parking lot. Dawn's van, which had been parked there, was now gone. Cherish had vanished. Approximately 40 minutes after Cherish's disappearance, around 11:20 p.m., an employee at Walmart handed Rain a cell phone, allowing her to call 911. When officers arrived, Rain struggled to provide many details. Her description of Dawn was quite vague: a white man with white hair in a white van. However, panic set in when the police revealed they were already familiar with the man she was describing. It turned out that Dawn was actually Donald Smith, a registered sex offender with a lengthy criminal history dating back to the 1970s. He had only been released from prison 3 weeks prior. Police noted that Dawn was wearing the same clothing he had on the night before, a black t-shirt and jeans. But what raised further concern was that the lower half of his clothing was soaking wet. This detail led officers to suspect that whatever had happened to Cherish involved water. Distraught, Rain watched as police searched throughout the night but found no signs of her daughter. Then, by sheer luck, at 9 a.m. the next morning, a police officer conducting a routine traffic stop spotted Dawn's van driving by. He quickly pulled it over, detained Dawn, and searched the vehicle. Unfortunately, there was no sign of Cherish, and even the stroller and shopping items that Rain had left in the van were missing. Dawn was found in the same outfit witnesses had described from the night before, a black t-shirt and jeans. However, the officer observed that the lower half of his clothing was drenched. This raised immediate concerns about water being involved in Cherish's whereabouts. Soon after, a tip-off led police to reports of Dawn's van being seen parked in a nearby wooded area. Officers were promptly dispatched to investigate, focusing their search on bodies of water. They quickly discovered a creek behind an old church, where, with the assistance of search dogs, they tragically located Cherish's body in the water. She had been weighted down by bricks and debris. The injuries on her body gave insight immediately into the brutality and horror that had been inflicted on her after Dawn had taken her from the store. Cherish had injuries all over her entire body. Donald had tightened a gag around her mouth so severely that her gums had bled. He had sexually assaulted her and even left a hickey on her chest. There was blunt force trauma to her head. Ligature marks were found around her neck, and it was found that she had been strangled with such force that her eyes had bled, and the blood vessels in her throat and face had burst. She also was found to have defensive wounds, meaning that this 8-year-old, 67-pound little girl had fought for her life. Donald was taken into custody and faced charges of kidnapping, sexual battery, and first-degree murder. The evidence against him was compelling and substantial. Rain tearfully recounted her experience on the witness stand during the trial against Donald Smith, particularly as the recording of her 911 call was presented to the court. This moment brought back the horrifying realization that her daughter had been abducted. Rain recounted that the moment she discovered Cherish was missing, she felt an instinctual fear that her daughter would not be found alive, and that there was nothing she could do to change that. The most devastating part of the proceedings arose when Dr. Valerie Rao, the medical examiner who conducted Cherish's autopsy, shared graphic details about the child's injuries. The severity of these injuries caused Dr. Rao to pause, overwhelmed by emotion, but she ultimately gathered her composure to detail the extensive damage inflicted upon Cherish's body, highlighting the horrific actions taken by Donald Smith. Meanwhile, Smith's defense attorney, Julie Schlacks, contended that Rain made unwise choices by getting into the van with him. Smith had been released from jail just 3 weeks before Cherish's death, after serving 438 days on felony charges of child abuse and unlawful impersonation of a public employee. He had a lengthy criminal history that dated as far back as the 1970s. He has been a registered sex offender since a 1993 conviction in Duval County for attempted abduction and selling obscene materials. Donald put forward no defense, and the jury took less than 15 minutes to find him guilty. He was sentenced to death. Cherish's father, Billy Giroux, spoke out after the sentence was handed down, saying, "I don't think there is a way to have justice in something like this." Cherish Lily Perrywinkle, a student at Chaffee Trail Elementary School, cherished attending church every week with her family. She will always be remembered for the countless hours she spent creating beautiful drawings for those she cared about.